Hey, y'all, What If is putting on another live show, and guess what? We want you there.
You said, hey, y'all, like there's people in this room with us, but there's not.
No, but there's people out there.
Well, they're watching, but how about we do a show with people in the room with us, too?
The room where it happens.
Oh.
Live. We will have a very special guest at the world-famous Laugh Factory in Hollywood, May 21st.
So go to thelaughfactory.com for tickets or our social media pages.
We'll see you there.
This is a Headgum podcast.
Hey, y'all, I'm Wayne Brady.
Hey, y'all, I'm Jonathan Mangum.
Hey, y'all, and welcome to What If? What is What If? It's the show where we invite a guest who's just amazing at what they do, a total badass, and then we sit them down and we ask them the what ifs of life, the multiverse, and everything.
Also, y'all, we've got live musical accompaniments in the studio today with Bradson. Everything you're about to hear is fully improvised, even the theme song, which happens at some point after this sentence stops.
So let's ask the question, what if Anthony Veneziale was our guest? What if? What if? What
Anthony.
if? Woo!
Anthony.
What if I would get a lift? Him being our guest, that is a gift. Got on a plane from San Francisco and knock, knock, he was at my front door. Said, Wayne, let me come on in. We got a lot of freestyle, let's begin.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, let's begin. Because when he's in the house, man, it's a win.
I can't believe it, where it's this mic or a lav. Man, you got a Tony for doing improv. That's amazing what you did. You did it in NYC. I can't believe you're here. You're looking at him and looking at me.
Yes, that's right. I got a Tony on the wall
Hey!
for an improv show that you might be bored
Hey!
by, but I just want to do it like a dream, because that's my team. Freestyle Love Supreme.
What if?
What if?
There we go. And that is the theme song that Anthony helped to write and complete.
Yes.
I'm so happy I could just gush because you're here and you're one of the guests that we've had that I've had the joy of working with, and I know you and you're my buddy, and so to bring you into this sphere, this feels so good.
Well, I mean, thank you for inviting me. It is a absolute honor. Like, you called me up and you're like, hey, I'm doing this thing and you should come down. And I was like, just tell me the time, right? Like, obviously, if you ask me to do something, I will be there always.
You did turn down the first 15 or 20 times we offered, but eventually you found a time, which we appreciate.
That's right. Yeah. Anytime after the 15th or 20th time you ask me, I am there.
Yeah.
He slotted us right in.
Do you guys know about this? There's actually a marketing theorist out of Harvard Business School, and he has this theory that it's 17 times.
Really?
It's the 17th time that you will get someone's attention.
Wait, so you mean you actually have to go, hey, 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 and so the 17th time they actually say yes?
I don't know if you have to go, hey, hey,
Hey, hey, hey, hey, hey.
but it's around coordinating multiple avenues of getting someone's attention. Texts,
Got you.
email campaigns.
Oh, you're not joking. I thought you were just
No.
riffing.
This is the real thing.
Whoa.
No, this is
yeah.
why when Anthony comes on, he drops knowledge. You know what I'm going to do is for the folks at home. Okay, so I think that we need to do the thing where we set you up and people know who we're talking to. Jonathan dropped a little bit of it in his freestyle. But for those of you watching and listening that you don't know who Mr. Anthony is, he happens to be one of the co-founders of an amazing group of improvisers called Freestyle Love Supreme. And you took home the first Tony for an improvisational show.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just even know that is a benchmark, along with Thomas Kail, esteemed director, Chris Jackson, Utkarsh, UTK, the man who you can see on CBS now on their #1 sitcom Ghosts. And of course, a guy who I really hope that this showbiz thing works out for him, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Never heard of him.
Maybe you've heard of him.
Nope.
He's done a couple things.
Boring.
But I'm telling you, keep your eye on the kid.
All right.
So Anthony, along with them, they created Freestyle Love Supreme. The group has been a presence in the improv lane and world. I got a chance. I first worked with you guys a million years ago on the Freestyle Love Supreme pilot.
Yep.
That was a sitcom. And since then, you've toured the world. You do TED Talks, which we'll talk about as well. You are a host. You are an actor. You are an entrepreneur. We'll even get into the tech side of improvisation. What I love about you is you've been able to take this little thing that Jonathan and I love, and we all love, and we nerd out on, called improvisation, and you've been able to take it from where at its base It's fun. You make stuff up. A lot of people have seen a lot of bad improv. There's been some good improv. There've been some great improv.
Yeah.
But you've taken it and you turned it into a weapon for good, along with the therapeutic applications that you've done. So I'm just blah, blah, blahing to the people listening, just so you know that this dude is a part of this movement. Like you do this shit.
Thank you.
You do this.
Wow. Jonathan, what am I supposed to say to that?
Yeah, so what are you going to say now, Jonathan?
Hey, 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 hey.
Hey! You got my attention.
That's all I wanted, just to get your attention.
That almost went right into a Fiddler on the Roof song.
Oh, you're right.
Which one?
The one with the...
But we can't sing it because I said...
We cannot get the rights to that.
We can say... Podcasts aren't bound by those rights, are they?
They are, but they're not bound by the song that was cut from the musical.
Oh, the cut song.
It's called 17 Hays.
Yeah.
17 Hays. Oh. Hey, it's Tevye.
Hey! Thank you for having me on your roof tonight.
Come down, Tevye.
Wait, he's on a higher roof?
He's on a higher roof.
Oh, I did not realize.
Oh, well, when you have as much hay as I do, you can climb to the heights.
Tevye, tell me, how do I get the attention I mentioned? There are so many women in the village that I would love to their heart I would pillage, but they won't look at me and they won't see. They look right past the form of me. How do I make them see? Please.
I get this question all of the time. It takes up most day and night. But if you want to get it right, there is a simple way. Hey! Hey! Hey, 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 hey. 17 hays in a day make for a quick way to get to a heart at the very, very start.
So very many hays, 17 hays, 17 hays.
That's the way.
17 hays, 17 hays, 17 hays.
17
That's the way.
17 hays, you follow the courses. But when I said that, I got 17 horses.
17 hays, that's in my face. When I said hays, I got Sean from Will and Grace.
Wait, what?
Sean Hayes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
yes.
Keep up.
Of course, keep up.
I don't have a TV anymore.
Don't stress. He's also a host of a podcast too that is simply called Smartless.
17
hays. Wow, it's a shame they cut that song.
Yeah. But it didn't really get the narrative forward, so it was a smart cut.
But I did see one production here at La Mirada. They actually kept that song in.
And that's how Sean Hayes named his podcast, because they mentioned him and the podcast in that song 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And so he's like, we have to create a podcast.
Yeah. Improv equals time travel.
It does. It kind of does. You know? I think we all think of time as linear. Well, I should say time can often be seen as linear, but it's just not. It's so circular. It's got the multiverses, as we all know. There's just a lot going on with time. I know we age in one direction, but it's not linear.
Besides being an improv nerd, I'm a big sci-fi nerd, and I think Jonathan is as well. When you talk about time travel, because on this podcast, who knows where the conversation will go, right? So let's talk about time travel.
Yeah.
I love how you said we do age in one direction, but you know what I think is one of the horrible parts of the human condition is as our bodies age, if you use the analogy of the river, of the river of time, where everything is going downstream, our consciousness and who we are at our center, we can be arrested in time. So you can always be that teenager, which is why so many guys, even when we're older, we end up being silly little boys or douches sometimes.
Yeah. Major sitcoms are based on that.
Based on that whole thing. Yeah. Or we fight the aging, which is why we are in our 50s and we played video games and paintball and laser tag.
Well, I do have to say that I think play is like one of the most important life skills that all humans can have and should use well into their octogenarians and later. Centenarians. And
even to just be an actor or to be in the entertainment space.
Yeah.
You have to play. I think the people that don't play.
Homie is one of them.
Homie don't play that?
Homie don't play. No, he does not. He's so serious.
So serious all the time.
Why is Homie so serious?
I don't know.
And he's a clown. For all the kids
Wow.
watching, we are
In
referring
living color.
to a Damon Wayans
Wow.
character named Homie the Clown.
Homie the Clown.
Because some of you may not know what the hell we're talking about.
That was
Always-
the other cut song from that musical that led to the show.
Well, too bad that all evidence of that song was cut.
Completely cut.
It was all cut.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
It was on one hard drive, and they did not back it up.
Nope.
Yeah.
And we took it through airport security just to make sure.
Port security. That was in their back pocket. When
I
they
heard it
jumped
was
in
on
the
a
pool.
floppy disk for a moment.
It was on a floppy disk
as well, because it's 40 years ago, right?
Yeah.
It was on a floppy disk, and
Yeah.
right next to a big ass magnet.
That's right.
Yeah. And when you say
Terrible.
big, I mean he was a magnet shaped like an ass. It was a big ass magnet.
Well, it was
Yeah.
art.
yeah. Well, they called it art.
Well, anything's art. Like
Dada.
this. This is art. Let's talk about improvisation, Anthony.
Okay.
Tell us your earliest memory of play.
Oh my gosh. For like just general play or improv play?
The play,
Well, all play's kind of improv play. Isn't it?
yeah, but the play that turned into, because I remember being a kid the first time that I pretended to be something else. I actually have that memory.
Well, yeah. I mean, so I remember growing up and going over to my friend Jeff Cooper's house, and he had all the Transformers.
Classic Cooper.
Yeah,
J.
such a
Coop.
Cooper move. And Jeff, like, would let you play with one, right? He'd be like, "This is my," and then, but you can use that one, and it was usually like a lesser Transformer, you know. So for whatever reason, Bumblebee, Optimus Prime, they stayed in his like, you know,
Right.
close to the heart. But we would go outside, and there was like these big dirt mounds, and we would set up like whole scenes, and then we would literally inhabit them as well. So I'm super lucky and thankful that I grew up in the 80s when that's all they were trying to do was sell toys. And those toys became transportive properties around imagination and shared play.
Yes.
Now, the hard part, I think, was coming to a consensus with the other person about what that shared play's rules were. And that's where I think a lot of my childhood, I was like, yeah, I just haven't found I haven't found the people that I want to build that consensus with, because they're not sharing the imaginative space in a way that feels pro-social, in a way that feels conducive to like, we're all going to win.
How old were you during this time?
This is probably second grade.
Second grade. And,
First,
and
second
so
grade.
did you know what consensus even meant in first or second
All I
grade?
knew was I fired my gun at Grimlock, and Grimlock didn't go down.
Yeah.
That's the beginning of, I love how you said that the play is a consensus. That's what improvisation is built on, the yes anding of it. So
Yeah.
if you're with people, nobody can improvise like a kid, but no one can deny you like a child either.
That's right.
You just shot Grimlock. No, I didn't. I have a force field. Well, I have a bullet that goes through the force field. I have on magical armor
Yeah.
that I got from the, and that game just keeps going and going.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's like, well, is it a game of wills that we're sort of just facing off around my way versus your way? Or is it actually something where we're building universes together, and those universes transport us to a better place, or something that's even more than we could be individually?
You're weird. You're a nerd. Ha 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 ha.
Right.
That's what was said to me. I'm not calling you a nerd.
No.
I'm playing the character of the person that would say that to me.
It sounds like,
to you.
Jonathan, that you need a little bit of play therapy to heal the little kid Jonathan that was made fun of.
I'm fine. My home life is just fine, you guys. You don't need to know about my dad.
Hey.
Wait, what?
Hey, Anthony, it's Jonathan.
Hey, you guys. What are you doing over there in the dirt?
We're playing with our Transformers. Hi, my name's Cooper.
No,
Jeff
it's not.
Cooper.
No, it's not. Your name's Squeegee Head. Oh, you hit me. This is not.
My name's Beat Your Ass.
I thought I was getting therapy for my home life, and you just hit me.
I didn't hit you. Jeff Cooper hit you.
Jeff Cooper.
Jeff Cooper hit you with a Transformer.
Oh, man. This makes me want to change my ways. It worked. You hear that noise?
Yes, I
That's the
did.
xylophone in my pocket. It has one key, and it goes off when I'm happy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now, don't you feel better?
I feel a lot better. Wait, who are you talking to, Jonathan or young Jonathan?
Both of them.
Time travel.
Wow. That's great.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
That is great. It looked good.
Yeah.
Feel good?
It was like the best life coaching I've ever had.
Now, all joking aside, which not too much because we want to joke, improv really is the thing that I feel, that sense of play is the thing that kind of not to be hyperbolic, but not saved my life, but I think gave me permission to be myself. Being able to play, like especially being in spaces where I grew up in my elementary school and middle school, where I didn't always get along with the other kids, and I felt weird and out of sorts. It gave me the freedom to learn to be other characters and to use my imagination. It made me. It took me away to different worlds. It made me want to read. Yeah, made me want to take those things I read and then act them out.
Yeah, I think there's something about beginner's mindset around play that just kind of translates into this like continuous learner. I've noticed that about, all the improvisers that I know and love tend to be like, what can I learn today? And I think actors are that way as well. I think acting ultimately is in service of learning how to better be that fill in the blank here role.
Good actors.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up, Anthony?
I grew up in Philadelphia.
Okay, Philly.
Yep.
Oh,
born in Northeast.
Congratulations.
Thank you. EAGL. How do you spell Eagles? I don't know if you heard our mayor, who's incredible, spelled Eagles ELGLES. And so now everyone spells Eagles Elgles.
Yeah.
Elgles.
It's great.
I wanna fly like an Elgles.
To the sea.
Why would you spell it like that? Oh, okay.
Excitement. Because, we just are champions again. And we ended the three-peat, whatever that three-peat conversation was. That was just disrespectful. But yeah, so back to like the play, the consensus, when was your first moment of it? What did you realize? I grew up in Northeast Philadelphia, and then we moved to this little really cool town called New Hope. And yes, I understand Star Wars Episode 4 is called A New Hope as well. It was formerly Coriel's Ferry, which is where the midway point between New York City and Philadelphia for the boats to transfer goods across sides of the canals from New Jersey to Pennsylvania side.
Now, when you say goods, my brother, I hope you are referring to boxes and the such. Nothing organic.
White block of cheese from New Zealand.
Oh, right. That's what I'm talking about.
White block of cheese from New Zealand. They're one of the sponsors of our show. I don't know if you know that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Pure cut white blocks of cheese.
Looking for some different cheese? This is my New Zealand accent.
Oh, I didn't realize it was a New Zealand accent.
Somebody wants a delicious block of white cheese. And we New Zealand gnomes work a day and night to squeeze the cheese from the cow bladder. New Zealand block of cheese.
And now you sound like you're from New England.
Nobody,
That's what he said.
nobody handed me, and so I just flailed out into an explosion of sadness. I thought I had therapy.
Oh man, young Jonathan just got so hurt again.
Hey, Jonathan.
Hey, you guys.
Hey, look, I know that I slapped you the other day.
You not only did you slap me, you knocked my book of accents right out of my hands. I'll never find it.
Well, here, I want to give you this. My dad, he works at a printer's shop.
Oh,
and
yeah?
He made this.
Oh, what is it?
It's a book of accents.
Oh, thank you.
Here, turn to page 16.
Oh.
It shows how to phonetically do a New Zealander's accent.
It sure. Oh no, the wind.
Here you go.
We're in the present. We're in the present. I never know what happened.
Hey, Jonathan.
Hey, Wayne, what's up?
I just got this bag, this parcel in my office.
Oh no.
And it says, to Jonathan Mangum. Here.
From himself?
Yeah.
And it's just the single page from that book when I was a kid.
It says New Zealander accents.
It does.
Read it.
Son of a bitch. We're so close to Australia, we sound a little bit like them. Sweet as. Right? They say sweet as?
Yeah. Nice.
Bitch.
Oh yeah,
anyway,
pimping out.
Yeah.
Pimping out.
I gotta pimp him.
Pimp. Growing up, youngest of 5 boys in an Italian family. And so having, and a mistake. So I was like much younger by far.
Did your parents tell you that you were a mistake?
In not so many uncertain words, but no, absolutely, straight up. Like, yeah. We were trying for a girl, and then we thought we were done, and then we had you.
Oh.
And it's great.
At what age?
What age did they tell me that? Pretty young. Yeah.
They never prefaced it with still, did they? They never said.
No.
Okay,
no,
good.
How'd that conversation go?
Let's find out.
Hey, Anthony, come in the dining room.
Me and your father want to speak to you.
Your mom, ever since your mom and I met in New Zealand, those many years ago, we said to ourselves, as a good Italian-American Catholic family, we're going to have kids. We're going to have kids, but we're going to stop at 4.
Yeah. Wait a second. Stop at 4.
Yeah.
But I'm number 5.
You were never meant to be here, sweet Anthony.
That's what we wanted to talk to you about, Anthony. Also, happy birthday. Now back to what we wanted to talk to you about.
Did you get me a present?
Oh, sure. Here, read this card.
How to do a New Zealand accent.
Yeah.
We're so close to Australia that we sound sweet ass. They say sweet ass, don't they?
Exactly, Anthony. Oh. Now look. Just because you were an accident doesn't mean I don't like being your parent. I enjoy being a father to the other 4, and you are just the mistake that we can't ignore.
Because we're Catholic, we only have sex on Easter and other holidays. And when I wanted his attention, there was only one thing for me to say.
She said, hey, 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 hey. And then you came along, product of my schlong. But oh, you're so wrong. Wow, that was kind of beautifully sad that your parents sang that to you on your birthday.
Yeah. I know. It was a very memorable birthday. But I've always taken that as a message of awesomeness. Like, even in receiving it, I was like, that means I'm not supposed to be here, and all of this is just extra. This whole path, this whole life is just like a happy accident. So I always took it as exactly that. Like, and I think they couched it that way too. They're like, it was like the best accident that could ever happen.
That's really cool. So to your parents' video game, you were the DLC that came with the update. They didn't ask for it, but like, a new playable character.
Yeah. And I don't know about you all, but anytime you sort of feel like you kind of are on steady ground with your kids, something new kind of pops up, or the reason why you think you did something, especially around parenthood, like we had our first child and then we're like, we're gonna have a second child because we want our first child to be normal. But truly what happened was the second child came along and we were just like, oh, she's delicious. Oh, I want num-nums with this one. Oh, God.
Aww.
And she's so cuddly and like she says love you all the time. And my older one's like, good job. Get out of my room. And I'm not saying like the balance or whatever, the way that I think the universe works is like, you know, the way that nature encourages diversity, because a tree can't grow in the same spot as another tree, but they can share incredible resources through mycelium roots underneath.
That's deep.
Mycelium, is that like a fungus?
It is.
Yeah. It's like a fungus because it is a fungus.
It's totally a fungus.
Were you raised super Catholic? I was raised super Catholic. Were you worried about going to hell all the time?
I wasn't worried about going to hell.
Okay.
What I was worried about was my loved ones wouldn't go to heaven.
Oh.
Slightly different.
Wait, so did you think that it was like a Left Behind situation?
All I know is that when I prayed every night, I would go through a list of all of my near and dears and be like, please let them get into heaven.
But you weren't worried about yourself?
I don't think I ever was. I don't think I ever was like, and put me on that list. And so yes, I was raised very Catholic. Okay. I was an altar boy, the whole 9 yards. And even in 8th grade on confirmation, they're like, you should think about going into seminary. I was like, no way.
Wow.
So it was pretty serious. And my mom was a Eucharistic minister. All of this stuff. Yeah, right? So boom, you can have the body of Christ. But I remember someone telling me at a very young, impressionable age in Catholic school that if more than one person prays for something, it's very likely to happen. And I was like, that's amazing.
You know what? That is, and somebody Catholic told you that, right?
Yeah.
Because I was raised Episcopalian, which I think is kind of like Catholic light, but also Baptist.
Ooh.
And in the Baptist faith, that when two people reach an accord, that thing will happen.
Well, there's a great study. You seem like I think both of you know this study, but for people that haven't heard it, where they told people they were either being prayed for or people weren't being prayed for in the hospital in bad conditions. And the people that knew they were being prayed for did worse as a general outcome than people that didn't know they were being prayed for. So the thought that you're being prayed for might make you think something must be really wrong because everyone's praying for me. You know what I mean?
Let's see what that's like.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
It's really loud in the hospital. Can we turn off the organ music? We're trying to save lives here. Who let the kid in here with the organ? Mr. Johansson.
Can I get some water, please? Can I get some water?
Well, if you need it,
I'm so parched right now.
Look, we have got a petition with over 10,000 people that have decided to pray for you today.
You're all gonna pray for me? Where's my priest?
He's right here.
Where's my priest?
He's right here.
Father Anthony.
My son.
Tell me I'm gonna be okay.
You're not going to be okay.
I mean, what?
We're praying. All of us are praying.
All of us are praying.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, that's good.
Yes.
But you should know,
Uh-huh,
when all of us pray for you,
right.
you feel a sense of it's in everyone else's hands, and you give up.
Well, it's not that if all of you are praying for me, I shouldn't have to pray for myself, right?
The Lord helps those who help themselves.
But am I not helping myself by reaching out to you folks?
Well, look, the father brought some magazines for you to read. That one's called Last Rites. I've not heard of that one before.
I don't know if I want to read that one.
No, you don't read that. We read that in about 5 minutes from now.
Wait, you're gonna read, but you're all praying for me, right? I mean, pray harder. Pray harder.
We don't have to pray so hard.
What?
You just have to live much better. We don't have to pray so hard. You'll have to knit your own healing sweater.
All I want is to live. A little prayer that you have to give. All I need is raise your voice, and if I kick this mortal coil, it would be God's choice. Pray, motherfuckers, pray.
You said the F word, no way.
Hallelujah.
What I say should not be used against me or taint my immortal soil.
Listen to the words I say, my bro. You actually died 20 minutes ago.
What?
We are satanic creatures to take you to a very, very hot place.
Now you're giggling, you've got a pitchfork, and now I prayed, and now I feel like such a dork. I've been praying to the wrong entity, and downwards is where you'll take me.
To the bottom of the hole.
To the bottom of the hole.
To the bottom of
your
the
soul.
Is it anything like the Inferno of Dante? Can I get a drink, maybe Chianti? A date with Shantae? A little Romante? No. Oh shit, what a bad day.
The only thing that matters is all these Jacob ladders that you'll be climbing soon, and that will be your doom.
And that will be my doom.
That will be your doom.
And that will be my doom. My body's there in this room. That is my doom.
What's he doing with the broom?
Oh, he's taking off my fruit of loom.
That orderly needs to be fired.
Amen. Something like that.
We've only got a certain amount of time on this earth.
Dang it.
But also so I want you to tell us a couple things, and maybe they'll be jumping off points, but also just really fun ass improvisational information. Let's start with, tell us about your company.
Yeah. I'm going to try to close the loop with the thread that has been left out there.
Yes.
So growing up, youngest, lots of brothers, they were much older than me, and I never quite felt like I belonged, right? So I never quite felt as though I had a playmate in that big gaggle of brothers. In fact, I got beat up a lot, and that was great. I learned a lot from getting beat up. My brothers are awesome. I love them. I gave as good as I got.
You want us to beat you up now so you can learn a little more?
No, we're good. We're good. Oh, man. Anyway. And so I do think when I found improv, I was like, oh, this is the thing. This is the thing where it creates a sense of equilibrium in that we all have something to learn from each other. There was no one in that group who was like, I'm going to teach you improv. They were like, I'm about to learn as much improv from you as you are from me.
Where'd you start taking improv?
So I got kicked off of the soccer team at Wesleyan my sophomore year. I was cut from the team after we had a big trip in Europe. I got into a bit of a fight with one of the assistant coaches. We came back to the States and they're like, we're cutting you from the team. And I was devastated. My family's a big soccer family.
Oh,
My brother was All-American. He played professional. I played in Germany, you name it. We played everywhere. And I got cut from the team. And 2 days later, I remember talking to my dad on the phone. I was like, oh my God, Dad, I got cut from the team. I was in tears. And he was like, Anthony, you never know what's going to happen. And then 2 days later, I auditioned for the improv group on campus called Gag Reflex. Shout out to Gag Reflex. And I remember a week later, they kind of like kidnap you in the middle of the night. And they're like, you're in the group. And you're like, I'm not being killed. Amen. And so I got into the improv group and I was like, okay, I can't wait to learn everything. Right. And like you go through your games and then we switched from short form to long form because it was that time in the mid 90s when it was like Truth and Comedy came out and more people were doing Heralds. So we did some theater sports. We moved towards Heralds and then the Armando. I lived in New York when all that stuff was happening. UCB started their company. And I remember thinking improv for me was a place where I felt at home and comfortable. But improv in New York, especially at that time, looked a lot like me. And I was like, that's not why I do theater. Why I do theater is to create conversations around what it means to be black and white in this country. I think why I created Freestyle Love Supreme was because I wanted to have a language in which black and brown people felt very comfortable, and then just say, and it's also improv. How can that art form learn from freestyle and from hip hop to create a space that felt a bit more dynamic between points of view, period.
Well, what's interesting to me in hearing your story in that parallel, so which year was this, like 96, 97?
When I got into Gag Reflex? Yeah, 95, 96.
Okay, so in 96, Jonathan and myself and our friends, we just moved out to LA. And even before then, we had a group in Orlando, SAC Theater, that later became the House Full of Honkies, which I was the only me in the group. So listening to you talk about the thought behind forming Freestyle Love Supreme, and I'd always thought of improvisation as a place where there weren't other people that looked like me, but oddly, I felt very safe, especially with my other friends. Like for me, race was not an issue in the improvisational space yet.
Yeah.
It would become later.
Yeah.
It would become later, but when I first started off and when we were just friends doing it, and it was before I reached the bigger world of like when you went to New York and you saw all these places and everyone looked like you.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got to LA where it just wasn't us playing. Then we would sit in with Second City folks and groundlings and we'd meet. And occasionally I'd spot, another speck of melanin. But for the most part, it really was not a space where there were a lot of black and brown people. And that being said, comedy always, it seemed like at that point, you always ended up, if somebody was going to play someone black or play someone of a different ethnicity, it was kind of done in what would look like now as a cringier manner, because no one really thought about those things. They didn't think about being open-minded, and I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt that it was never intentional.
Yeah.
It was just like black folks weren't encouraged to do improv, which is why when I got Whose Line, folks were like, "That's odd. Why is that guy on there doing that?"
like I was thinking the other day about, because we did SAC theater for all those years in Orlando, and in my mind it's like, that was the best time. All of our shows were great. All of our shows were not great.
No.
There were plenty of times where we sucked and the audience sucked, but you don't really remember those. You
Right.
just kind of remember it being this great thing with
You remember the
excitement
broad
and fun.
strokes.
Yeah.
Time makes you forget. Well, in certain instances, but especially with trauma and whatnot, time makes you forget the specificities, and you're left with the overall glow of, man, weren't the 80s great? You kids, your music sucks.
Yeah.
Our music was the best in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, and the nostalgia distortion lens is really powerful. And so we typically remember like general broad strokes, like you're saying, but trauma is very specific. Trauma tends to take root in a cyclical pattern inside of your brain as well. And so you have an automated response that gets you to your amygdala sooner or later. And that typically is an overriding feature in our brain that says, I should be afraid. And here's what brings me back to my company, which is that if we can engage people in play, and I really believe that when you have spaces where Black and brown people get to play, it's like women getting money for entrepreneurial endeavors. You give women money for entrepreneurial endeavors, the entire health of that community goes up and up and up. If you have Black and brown people playing in a space, the sense of freedom and the sense of joy in the world goes up and up and up. I believe those things are almost exactly
Absolutely.
equated. So why did I start my company? It was to create pro-social games that allow people to see each other in the moment, not judging them on what they were or what they should be, but having an equal sense of, I'm terrible at this. How do I help this other person be good? I'm terrible. How can I help them be good? I'm terrible. How can I help them be good? And that's all improv is. I think that's what it started as in the Whole Houses, right? With Viola Spolin. She had two groups of kids. One was a big immigrant group of kids, and the other were the local kids, and they hated each other, and they didn't want to get along together. She integrated them, she played theater games with them, and they became Second City.
See, that's what I love. If anybody listening and tuning in, this is a bit of the history about the thing that we do. That it's all laughs and we love to have fun, but just knowing where this art form comes from is always,
It's beautiful.
it's such a cool thing that it's a great club to be a part of.
And just go back to one thing you said that has really not much value in this conversation at all. What did little Anthony do to the assistant coach? What was that fight about?
Wow.
You can't just drop a bomb like I fought with an assistant coach and they fired me from the soccer team.
Now, can you talk about it?
Yeah. I can.
Legally?
I mean, yeah.
Wait, before? Yeah, because I just want to make sure. Now, before you tell us,
Yeah.
can we guess?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Please. That's even better.
I'll be Anthony, and you be the coach.
Okay.
And then each time we're correct,
Ding, ding, ding,
say
ding.
yes,
Yeah,
ding,
okay.
ding, ding. Just so
And
we.
then, for if you're going
Okay.
wrong.
Coach, why'd you take me out the game? Coach, thanks for letting me play the entire game. Coach, did you see that game?
Ding, 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 ding.
It's the assistant coach, you son of a bitch. I haven't even been able to be coach. I've been trying to be coach for years.
See, that's why I think the problem between us is we're both in the same team. I go out, I give my all. I really am killing this thing. There might be a scout. Look, you know what? I'm a mid player at best, but I've got heart. And people like me, and I think that's why you've got a problem, because people don't like you, so you take it out on me.
You've got a heart. You know what hearts are for?
Yeah, for circulating your blood.
You're smarter than I thought.
Exactly. You don't give me enough credit.
But I don't need smart players. I need players that can score. It's all about winning. I need players that can make me feel like I'm a better person than I am. I need players that just play the game of football, as they call over here in Germany, where we are stationed right now.
You know, you need yes men.
What?
That's what you need. You don't need somebody who's an active player. You just need someone that will agree with you and think that your bullshit is cool.
I am 48 years old.
And I am 20. I'm 18.
Ding, 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 ding.
I'm 8. I'm a freshman. I am 18 years old with my life ahead of me, so you're jealous.
I've lived a whole life. I have wisdom you couldn't
Don't
imagine.
don't come so close to me.
Taking off my jacket,
You better get back. You are in my face, coach.
putting on my kicking.
Okay. Round's over. We were at a restaurant.
Oh, we were so wrong.
So wrong.
And it was the team going on our last meal, and we were actually in Finland on the way out.
Close to Germany.
Very close to Germany. And the coach by this point had just amounted the assistant coach had amounted all these moments for me where I was like, man, this is just a terrible person. So he was always like being rude to wait staff and all that kind of stuff, but he was also like a misogynist and sexist, and he like said something terrible to the waitress who was helping us. And I said, you know what? I don't want to hear you talk anymore to waitresses like that while I'm around. That's what I said to him. And he's like, do you have a problem with me, Veneziale? And I said, yeah, I have a big problem with you. You're making all of us look like assholes because you're a fucking jerk.
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
And he got up from the table, and I got up from the table, and he had to be held back, and I had to be held back.
Yeah. But that's a big deal because like just being raised Catholic too, it's like you don't talk, we didn't talk back to these people that were teaching
Definitely
us.
not.
No.
And I'd been under him for a year at that point too, and he was just, everyone called him crazy.
Yeah.
And he was like also really helped with the soccer, with the goalkeepers. And goalkeepers are their own unique unicorn brand in the soccer world as well. And yeah, it just was like, I can't be around this guy anymore. He is a terrible person, and he makes me feel terrible.
Yeah. And I bet you that waitress took the tip money you guys left and started a business and brought the whole community up. Am I right?
And up.
She now owns that country.
Yeah. Tina
York.
Finland, her name is her name.
Who?
Tina Finland.
Yes, she took the
Tina.
name of the country.
Well, that's what before it was Constantinople, and then Tina Finland turned her business into.
Yes.
Jonathan doesn't know a lot about geography.
Look, if there's one thing I know about Monaco, it is in Morocco.
That's
from a previous conversation that we had before we started.
Y'all didn't need to be there. Before we let you go, Anthony, I'd like to try two things that we can get in the show. One of my favorite parts of doing Freestyle Love Supreme.
Yeah.
I love True.
Yeah.
In fact, I've got to thank you, and I think I did this. If you haven't seen a Freestyle Love Supreme show, hopefully we'll be doing some at some point.
Knock on wood.
What I love about it is it's one of the few times that I was ever asked on stage to let down the guard of performing. And Jonathan and I, just on our own, outside of our other groups for 20 odd years, touring the world, doing improv shows, doing the fast who's line stuff where, you know, it's very surface, no stakes to it besides the stakes of being funny. But doing True was the first time I've cried on stage, like that gut cry on stage because you hit a nerve, because we used the muscle of improvisation, not just to be true to do a character, but you really had to be vulnerable with this audience and with the people on stage and go, okay, you know what? I'm really going to tell you some shit that maybe you've never heard.
Yeah.
And that was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, the vehicle of hip hop is always and will always be an opportunity to say, hey, this is a black and brown art form, A, and then B, it actually is about being left out, right? Hip hop is like, you're going to have to look at me. You're going to have to see me, right? And all of us have gone through that in our lives. All of us, no matter what you look like or where you come from, at some point in your life, you have felt like you didn't belong. And that feeling of like capturing, because for True, it's a true story from any point in your life prior to that moment of you sitting on the stage. And typically what comes up during True is a moment where, for us, we learn more and are experienced more through trauma. So typically, the specificity of trauma lives with us in a different way. It gets stored in a different part of your brain. And I'm obsessed with how improv works in your brain as well, by the way. And so what happens is you get up there and it's a self-cataloging moment. And so you're actually going through and you relive that experience, and your brain releases the same chemical compounds as if you were experiencing it for the first time. That's just an incredible thing about storytelling. And music as well helps to get to a whole other level and heightens it as well. So you're actually sort of like really, really coursing with endorphins, dopamine, and
real.
Adrenaline. And then finally, the most important part is that you're there with people who you love and trust. And then the oxytocin comes, and just that's that moment.
And
that's
you're super
true.
present.
So zero.
So we're going to do something that we haven't done on the show. You know, this is,
wow.
I'd love to do a mini version of True.
Yeah, let's do it.
A mini version of True. So now I say that because as your friend and someone close to you.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you would be comfortable doing True. I don't think.
Wow.
No, this is a real moment.
No, I don't.
This is a real moment. You play things very close to the vest, which also makes you an amazing friend because you're not one of these people that you just give your friendship willy-nilly. But I also don't see you as someone being vulnerable all the time.
Well, I'm not.
Right.
I didn't learn to build this armor for nothing, my friend. What do you think? I'm wearing plate mail. No, I would love to give it a try. I don't have a problem with trying to be vulnerable.
Really? Let's try it.
Yeah.
So, Anthony, set up true for the people listening. So as if we were doing it in a show.
Sure. All right, we're going to change things up right now. We're going to unplug and replug. And in order to do that, we need a very special word from you. And this is a word that matters to you. It's a word you love. It's a word you can't live without. A lot of times we'll hear from audiences, wine or chocolate or my mom. But it can be literally anything. Your favorite word, a word you need, a word you can't live without. And it's okay. Don't be overly precious with it.
Yeah, because it's not supposed to be funny. Like it really is
Whatever
something
word
that you
want. Yeah.
Companionship.
Companionship's a great one. Keep them coming. Let's get a couple. And
Sam,
Brady,
you got one? Rest.
Rest.
That's a good one.
Wow.
Grace.
Ooh,
Grace. Oh, damn.
Gosh, these are good. What do we think, team?
You know what's odd is they all kind of, there's a thing where they all kind of fit
Yeah, there's a theme.
hand in hand. Let's go with what'd you say, rest? You
Yeah.
said companionship.
And grace.
Oh, wow, they're all good.
Yeah.
Do we pick one each?
We just pick one.
No, just pick one.
Yeah,
And
and we
then
do a little hook.
As soon as we
and a
pick
verse.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you pick it.
Okay, I'll pick it. Let's do grace.
Grace.
That's nice. Yeah.
and
there's a lot there.
like I know what grace means.
It's
but,
what it.
Okay,
Yeah, however you take
Right,
it.
yeah.
Whatever story
Yeah, like
comes
it's
to mind
whatever.
for you.
got it.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
So. Grace, grace, grace from above. When I was in church, they taught me grace equals love. They said grace would be given depending on how I was living. But grace is what we're all seeking. When I was younger, I wanted grace. Yelled at for my face by some girls who did not think that I was it. Grace laughed at my face. Yes, literally, her name was Grace. And she was so fine, but she wanted me out of her space. Shit was grace. I wish I had grace. I wish I was grace. I wish I was given grace.
Every day it was time for dinner. We were Catholics, so we all knew we all were sinners. And my dad would come home from work around 5, been drinking so he could maybe feel himself alive. He'd sit down, sit at the table with the 4 of us. Was that enough of all of us, us? He was started to speak these words. He was saying grace, but secretly they were turds because he was a hypocrite. Didn't believe what he said. He was lying to himself, probably wished he was dead. We were a family just trying to get along, just trying to sing in life and trying to sing our song. But the hypocrisy kept going and the drinking never stopped. And my mama was sad, and then he got arrested by a cop and he got fired from job to job in different towns. He went from here to there. He traveled all around South Carolina and Greenville to North Carolina to South Carolina again and again. Then we moved to Alabama and we were there for a while. But then, you know, he'd never keep a permanent smile because soon he was fired. He went to Oklahoma City, but we stayed in Alabama, which sounds kind of shitty. But I was glad he wasn't there because he was such a bummer. He was not a good guy. He had his thumb up his own damn head. He couldn't really think. The answer to his problems was not Jesus, but drink. He never learned the lesson, but he preached it all the time. He couldn't accept the time. And now he's gone and now he's dead, and I don't miss him at all. You think I would, but that's not all, because I'm glad he's gone. We never had a relationship because he didn't help me. He didn't give us any damn grace.
Grace.
Didn't give you grace.
Couldn't give us any
Couldn't give you
goddamn
grace.
No
What
grace.
a waste. He didn't give grace to his family or sons. But look at the man that you've become.
Yeah.
Oh, grace.
Grace.
You've given yourself grace. That's the truth you have to face.
That's grace. Grace. That's grace. Now, 50-yard dash, we all just run the race.
Come
But
on.
everybody knows that you need to extend some grace. Now, I am thinking about a particular trip I went on down to Nashville, that is in Tennessee. I see I was there. It was like a little bit of a pickle because I was doing improv for a nickel. I was on the tour going around and round. It was like I had my head underground or in a bucket filled with water. You know, oxygen deprivation. That's a game that we play when we go across the nation trying to raise a couple of bucks out on the street. And I remember it was like incomplete because I was looking for something more. I was trying to strive for a nationship or a relationship with me and God or me and my odd squad. Okay, but this bod was lying on next to the river. I'm in Nashville, yes, and I'm a firm believer in grace and also in fate. And what happened on that weekend, I will never forget. It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, and also the major lift.
Come
See,
on.
that was Hallelujah by Jeff Buckley. And I thought he was gonna be above me. He was like an incredible voice. I always chose him on every single mix that I made for a lady. Anytime I had it like made in the shady, I'd be like, put some hallelujah, get into her panties anyway. What? I was in Nashville. And guess what? I still remember this was the weekend that Jeff Buckley did kill himself after his one album, Grace. His only album, Grace. And there I was in that place, seeking that grace, unable to understand what happens in life when you just end it. And Buckley, he was at the top of the game. Walked into the river in Nashville, friends. He oxygen deprivated just like me, except he never came back to the top. Grace.
Wow. That was grace. That grace found him in a place where he just found silence. That was his grace. Now my own grace. Listening to these two stories, it reminds me to always be in the present and to listen. And I listened closely to someone I've known about 25 years, and details I was not missing. I knew about the relationship with your dad, but I did not understand how deep the anger made you mad. I didn't understand really about your mom, Barbara. I love her. She handled it with aplomb. You and your brothers turned out to be really good guys. And like I said earlier, dude, you did it. You did not try. No matter the example or the sample that your dad did, all of those negative traits and horrible shit that he hid. You, sterling example of a father and a man. Daily when we perform on stage, I'm glad to be in this two-man band. So you've given yourself grace. I see the smile on your face. You did some brave shit today. I didn't think that was the way, but you did it. I'm so proud. Damn, we got it on screen. They can see it on YouTube. We're listening on Apple Scream. I love it. They can even see and they can listen, and they understand the fact of the grace that you are not missing. And Anthony, you got on a plane. Thank you so much because you came here. Your freestyle name is Too Touch. You shared a story all about Jeff Buckley and his demise. I see how it touched you. Seriously, I saw it in your eyes. In that second, it was like quantum because you were aligned. You existed at this place, but I saw you go back to that time. That's grace. Immediately, I loved it. I love this art. I love exactly the things that we can do and the ways that we can start. This grace, I try to give myself as a father, as a guy who is so radically imperfect, and I love my daughter, Grace. She's 22 now, trying to make it on Broadway on her own. She's 22, trying to be a woman and have her own home. She's 22, she's dating men. And for example, when it comes to a dating pool and how to do it, not a good sample. But still, I try to show her, don't be like me. Don't do it and get a guy who is like me. Get a man who will treat you so profoundly, who will love you in a ways that can't be found. See, you need a man who will take your chair and he will pull it out. He'll never raise a hand in anger, and that dude will never shout. He will be a man who will love and value you to the day that you die. And if she can find that guy, then I'll find the grace. that I'm looking for, that I cannot ignore. Anthony Too Touched, he walked into the Headgum door, sat with us on this couch. We're ending on this way. Thank you so much, Mr. Anthony. That's what we say. What if?
Grace.
Man, that was so cool.
That was awesome. That was fun.
And that's what if. You never know what you're gonna get.
Don't ever ask me personal shit again.
Oh, wow.
That was
Really
so
nice.
dope, Jonathan. All right, let's get out of here. This has been What If? Jonathan Mangum, our buddy Branson, and our special guest, my man, Anthony Veneziale.
Hey.
Teaching you about improv. Bye, y'all. We'll see you on the next episode of What If?
Dead music all night.
That was a Headgum podcast.